Well, we thought you deserved a little bit of a rest. If you're interested, we have some wake-up music, and if you're not, we can skip it.
You know us, we love the wake-up music.
Okay, we'll see what we can do.
In Endeavour, Houston, for Jeff, all of America would like to know what you've got and what you're doing with it.
Well, this is the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah, and there's various ways that we celebrate it. And one of the games that we play is a little game with a dreidel, and it's something that you spin, and then you see which side comes up, and according to that, you either win or lose. And I was just trying to see how you might reinterpret the rules for spaceflight, since there's no up or down. And I guess on the subject, to help the celebration, I also brought along the other thing that we do. Hanukkah is the festival of lights. It lasts 8 days, and to celebrate it, we light a little menorah, which has 8 candles, and you light one more every day until finally on the 8th day, you have 8 candles. And so I brought a little traveling menorah. Of course, up here in the shuttle, we're not going to actually light the candles, but to help the celebration of the season, I brought it along. It's a little silver traveling menorah. And so with that and the dreidel, I'm all set for my onboard Hanukkah celebration.
And finally, the APU for the FCS checkout is APU-1, but we do not want you to start the APU until we come AOS after the ZOE, and we'll give you the 2-minute call shortly here. And those are all our notes. Do you have any questions?
Okay, we had already gotten to the ASA power on step and figured that out. Understand that we should expect RIP4 to not bypass, but just to press on normally, and y'all will look at it. And we won't start APU-1 until after we come AOS after the ZOE and get your call.
That's right, Covey, and we'll come AOS at 17 hours even.
Okay, and I guess the other part of that was we will power off all 4 ACEs at the end of the procedure.
Good copy.
Correction, Houston, that was 20.05 or 20,050 feet per second instead of 20,000.
We copy, and we're looking over your shoulder.
And on the PLT side, Houston, the Mach was 20.07 on the low test. On the high test, it was 3.02. And on the altitude tape on the low test, it was 190 by 200. Everything else looked good.
Okay, Endeavour, we copy that. Thanks for the information. And by now you should have message 77 Delta and 78 Charlie on board. And you'll need those before you perform the DTO 667.
This is Mission Control Houston. This television view from Endeavour's flight deck, the cockpit of Endeavour, shows Commander Dick Covey as he prepares to work with the pilot in-flight landing operations trainer. It's a simulation of landing that Covey and then pilot Ken Bowersox will both work with. Bowersox here right behind Covey as Covey works with it to hone their landing skills.
That was a very nice approach.
Yeah, Taco's down here taking notes.
much for stupid astronaut tricks.
You were reading our minds.
This is Beth Dickey with Reuters for Story, and whomever else would like to respond. Story, you've talked a lot about being prepared for surprises and being ready to handle any contingency. I'd like you to step back away from that for a little bit and tell us, in those private moments during this flight, while those spacewalks were going on, what did you guys talk about? Were you surprised that everything went so well?
Beth, if you asked me, as you did beforehand, to bet, I would have bet that we got it all done. But of course, we weren't counting on surprises, and we did have a bunch of surprises. And I think that as a team, we did demonstrate that we had generic skills to come up with the technical answers and to go out there and execute them. Did I answer your question, or was there more to it?
I was more interested in the moment before you all went to sleep at night. What sort of remarks did you make to each other about how things were going? Were they remarks of surprise, or, yeah, we knew we could do it all along? What did you say to each other?
I think we were very businesslike. I think we went into this scared. It meant an incredible amount to us and to others to get this job done, and I think for the most part, as you probably saw, until we had gotten the total job done on day 5, in which we did have a profound kind of relaxation amongst the team, we were mostly technical and mostly business and wanted to get that job done. So I think we were looking at the workarounds, and we were looking at what we had to do to get the job done. You probably noticed that.
This is Bill Harwood. I'm sorry, go ahead, Commander. This is Bill Harwood with CBS News.
I was just going to say that to follow up on that, we, at the end of each day, as we realized we had accomplished the goals of that day, and the EVA crew members would return into the spaceship, we did have little celebrations of joy and relief that we had reached each milestone, but we saved most of it to the end.
It's Bill Harwood with CBS News for Jeff Hoffman. Before this flight, and during the flight actually, it's been billed as very important for fixing Hubble, for demonstrating orbital servicing, and in some sense for showing NASA can still do really difficult missions and do them well. To you, what was the most important reason to go do this mission?
We've always said there were 2 fundamental goals. The first, and I guess most important, was Hubble itself. The whole nation, the whole world has been excited about Hubble telescope since it was first conceived and put into orbit. We've had to wait to realize its full potential. Astronomers and people all over the world deserve now to see what Hubble can really do. That was the first. But the second, and I think just as important, was to demonstrate that we have achieved with the shuttle and the whole operations team a very sophisticated level of on-orbit operational capability, hopefully one that we can exploit in the future.
And if you had your chance to write this mission up for history, how would you describe it?
I describe it as NASA had the courage to go for it all, to do absolutely everything on Hubble that it needed doing. They did. They had the courage to go for the whole thing. And we've gotten a long way to it. We're going to have to wait 6 weeks to 2 months to get the final results of how the systems operate and how the optics turns out. But in a nutshell, I think what was it all about? It was NASA had the courage to go for it all.
Could you give us a little physical description of Hubble after its 3.5 years in space? And also, was it inspirational to have the Earth and the heavens in the background as you were performing these tasks?
Hubble was in actually very good shape. We saw a few places where it had taken some small impacts, nothing that penetrated it. So actually, and as you heard comments as we opened the aft shroud looking inside, it was almost looked exactly as it left before it was deployed on STS 31. It looked brand new. The site, the first day or two looking at HST with the Earth in the background, of course, was just phenomenal, and you never got tired of just going and looking out the window. As the days wore on, we got used to it being there. It was like it was part of us, and the payload bay really looked empty after Claude picked it up and set it free from the end of the arm.
It's a question for Commander Covey and anyone else who wants to answer. As you know, there are many Americans who still wonder if the space program is worth all the money spent. What does this mission say to those people about the direction the nation should be heading in space and the benefits of the program?
Well, I think this mission, like all shuttle missions, shows that humans can work in space, and that we can do useful things, and that we can find ways to help increase our knowledge through science by space flight. I think the whole area of space flight is something that's very important to our country and to our world, because through space flight we will find out more about ourselves, our planet, and motivate kids and future generations to learn more, and eventually that will lead to a more stable world and more knowledge of our universe.
Nicholas Booth for The Observer in London. I'd like to ask Dr. Hoffman and Dr. Nicollier, both of you trained as astronomers. You've now been in the unique position of hopefully fixing the telescope. If you had your own chance to use the telescope, what would you like to see? What would you like to discover with the fixed Hubble Space Telescope?
Well, let me start on this one. I think one of the very exciting things that can be done with the Hubble Space Telescope is look very far in the cosmos and look very far in the past also. It's really a time exploration machine as well as a space exploration machine that is able to explore the universe much further than we can from ground-based telescope, and much further in the past also. So I think the exploration of the deep space and trying to find out about the origin of the universe and about its future, this is really one of the most exciting areas that can be handled with the Hubble Space Telescope. And of course, with the repair that has been done now, it will be able to do so much more than it has been able to in the last 3 years.
Endeavour, this is Houston PAO. That concludes the press conference. Thank you very much. Please stand by now for the VIP call. Switzerland, this is Houston. Please call Endeavour for voice check.
Endeavour, this is Switzerland. How do you hear me?
You're loud and fairly clear, Switzerland.
Il faut continuer à parler. Stand by for Madame Dreyfus.
Congratulations to you, Commander Covey. You and your crew had a very successful mission, and you are a wonderful team. I wish to thank NASA and ESA for the opportunity they gave us to live together these moments.
Thank you, Mrs. Dreyfus. We appreciate that very much, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. This was a particularly important international mission from the standpoint of our Swiss and European Space Agency crew member, Claude Nicollier, who played an incredibly important part in the repair of the Hubble Space Telescope. If there was an unsung hero of this mission, it would be Claude and his arm, because without them we could not have worked the way we did and been as successful as we were.
We are getting a spectacular view of all of Florida at this moment, out the window.
we have here the signatures of all the personnel of the Geneva Observatory and the Institute of Astronomy, Lausanne University.
And we see it, Claude. Thank you.
Endeavour.
We're here, Endeavour.
I know this is pretty boring stuff compared to the EVA downlinks that we gave you over the last week, but if y'all want to watch, we'll leave it up.
And Cubby, we've got some entry guys sitting here waiting to talk to you in case you have any questions, but the big picture is that based on the weather situation, we're going to go ahead and probably attempt to land at KSC tomorrow on revs 162 and 163. If we don't succeed in doing that, we're probably going to wave off until the next day and try for KSC again. It looks like Edwards is fairly solid if we need to use that on Tuesday, but right now that's not our plan. Endeavour, it looks like the entry team is going to come in and take our hours for the rest of the mission, so Orbit 1 would like to say adieu and good luck, and we will talk to you at Ellington.
And finally, from the Orbit 2 team, we would like to convey our thanks to you guys for doing just a stupendous job. It was great for us to watch you professionals at work up there, and for me down here to watch the professionals at work down here. It was a heck of a team, and we're all proud of how well this has turned out. And we wish you Godspeed and a safe trip home.
Well, thanks, Greg, and Milt, and all of the rest of the Orbit 2 team that's there. We appreciate the work that you put in, being a part of the team, helping us through the things that we had to do in order to get to the end of this mission, which hopefully will be tomorrow morning, and we'll see y'all at Ellington later on in the morning.
You bet, Covey. We'll see you at Ellington.
Thanks a lot.